name is David T. Little. I'm a composer and librettist from New York City.
And you've been to Classical Next before?
I attended, I think, the second edition of Classical Next in Vienna, which I forget what year, but it was fantastic. I had a great time and was really happy to be back. Today I led the Epic Fail conference session, and I focused on the idea of embracing failure or reframing failure as discovery and opportunity from a creative lens. And it was great. It was a really fun session. People seemed to really enjoy it. I think the fact that it started with schnapps didn't hurt. But I won't give the schnapps all the credit. I think it was a fun session. We had a good discussion, and people really shared some of their vulnerabilities, and we got into some real topics about how we can build on community by reframing this idea of failure in a more positive and more constructive way.
What would that be? Like, what is failure good for?
Well, in my case, I was talking about this opera film, Black Lodge, that'll be done in Rotterdam, and how it was a long development process, about 10 years, and there were all these issues that came up and challenges, and they were maybe not failures in a traditional sense, but they were really difficult moments that we had to decide to keep going, and we had to understand what the process was trying to tell us about what the work wanted to be. And in the end, it was the pandemic lockdown, when the live performance was no longer possible, that it really hit us, like, oh, this has always wanted to be a film. This is what it's been trying to tell us for a decade, and we couldn't hear it because we didn't have the right framework. And so it's kind of the sort of example we talked about, but instances where people thought they were heading on one professional trajectory and something happened that made that not possible, and it opened up this whole other world that they didn't know existed. So that kind of thing. So just trying to live in a creative, generative, and positive space, even when things feel like they're maybe not going the way you thought they would.
Your session was fun, you had schnapps in the morning,
Yeah.
but yes, still, you kind of need to open up.
Yeah.
To tell your failures, to accept your own failures. Is that a current trend? Because I hear this opening up to other audiences, the styles, to improvisation maybe. So I don't know, does the classical music scene, you think, like warm up to the idea of being less closed in?
I hope so.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like I, as a professional, came up in Brooklyn in the early 2000s. And that was very much what we were doing then. It was this idea of genre being more fluid, this idea of building a community, making music for each other, that then happened to also lead to a record label and lead to that community spreading its music more widely. But I think part of that is a belief in the community and a belief in the work, and staying open to, but also being really honest about what your interests are creatively, at least as a composer. This piece, Black Lodge, I grew up playing rock music and metal, and that's infused in this opera, right? It's for a rock band, right? And being honest about what that work is, and then finding the place where it can live and where it can thrive. I feel like that's kind of what's happening here with this terrific meeting of many minds, that you're starting to find the people who are like, oh, we're thinking about this the same way. This was, when I first came to Classical Next, in year 2, there was a group of us there, and we were like, oh, we're not alone, We had this sense of finding our people, and a lot of those people are still coming here, and I've been reconnecting with them here this week. So it's been really great, and it builds a really wonderful global community. It's terrific. It's a terrific festival, conference.
Thanks, David.
Thank you.
We're glad you're back and glad to have you.